Hello again. Welcome back. In this episode of our sonnet series, we will be talking about Anita Scott Coleman, relatively obscure poet, perhaps better known for her fiction, a minor poet in the Harlem Renaissance movement, whose star perhaps needs some burnishing, needs some recovering here. I think this is a very, very strong poem, and I think we can listen to some of these ideas and find they're very much still very relevant today. Denial. These shining years which cover by some grace each wistful moment with a warm content must still go lightly, lest a reverent or careless passing leave them commonplace. We must seem lusterless, who know the trace of rapture in each smallest incident, must casually note each dear intent to bear its wonder with a quiet face. Yet, by serene avowal of my heart, I shall be marked from common folk, who go in dull and dusty ways, because I know this blinding beauty, and can have no part with loneliness or sorrow very long. My silence wears the ecstasy of song. So I love this poem for the defiance of the sestet, those last 6 lines starting with the yet, and then the serene avowal of my heart. That's the commitment, that's the pivot this poem makes from the first half of the poem, the ambivalence of the emotion in the first half, to this avowal and commitment to the eternal, the pivot to the eternal that I always talk about in these sonnets. This poem enacts it so well, so flawlessly here. I shall be marked from common folk. That's a bold, bold proposition. It comes late in this poem, but it's so clear, so strong. Who go in dull and dusty ways. Why doesn't this poet, why doesn't this speaker of this poem go in dull and dusty ways? Because she knows this blinding beauty. What I hear a little bit in that sestet is that poets and creative people, perhaps, or part of almost a secret tribe with one another, irrespective of their background, their skin color, their gender, their religion even. We're all part of a special family of people. Maybe it's talking about religion, though. But I felt spoken to, that I could be part of this aristocracy of the soul that Coleman talks about. It's not about how you dress or how you look. It's about how you remember, how you make memorable as well, how you use language to create the memorable. And that octave talks about the difficulty of that. These shining years which cover by some grace each wistful moment with a warm content. What are the shining years? I don't know. Are the shining years a moment of youth, when things seemed promising, when the future seemed filled with possibility? Or are the shining years just every year of her life that she's grateful for, which cover by some grace each wistful moment? Maybe those times where you want something more, you're not completely satisfied, but the shining years cover those with a warm content. But you can't get too caught up in it. You can't pop the champagne. You can't celebrate too much. You still have to go lightly. And if you get careless about it, and you become too casual with these special moments, the octave seems to suggest, you'll make the extraordinary commonplace again. You'll debase these weird magic moments. I don't know what these shining years exactly are. There's something mysterious about this, which is very interesting to me. But you hear this defiance in this poem, and this defiance against the ambivalence of just having to, have this experience indignity in your life. We must seem lusterless seems to allude to that indignity. But we know the trace of rapture in even the smallest incident. There's this observation, this rescuing of the minute and the passed over that this poem does. That's so remarkable to me. Casually note each dear intent. And that, to me, I can read that as sarcasm, even sarcasm, that some of the people and how they treat her, their intent isn't dear. Their intent is cruel and heartless. And to casually note it means not to let it weigh on you and to bear its, quote, wonder with a quiet face. And that, to me, is perhaps getting to the title denial, returning back to this denial, which is, when people do you wrong and mistreat you and abuse you and oppress you, this poem proposes this strength of it. It's painful. It's horrible to think about, but it's also a powerful witness to this strength. Wonder in that sestet, the trying to talk yourself into something, because I know this blinding beauty and can have no part with loneliness or sorrow very long. But there's also that flip side. Loneliness and sorrow could come back. They could come back again and again. Well, a lot to think about in this poem. I think we have this English sonnet style with the couplet at the end, and usually I find this ending couplet, the sets of 3 sets of 4 lines and then a last couplet that is the English or Shakespearean sonnet, to be oftentimes a little less effective, or just more difficult to achieve for many poets. But here it's done very, very well. There's a balance to all 4 of those quatrains before that last pivot. It's very effective. Okay, thank you for joining me. I appreciate that very much, and I look forward to seeing you again. Please do subscribe. Always happy to have new fellow travelers with me. Have a good one.